palm reading of a doctor radiologist. I had made a video just a while back. My previous video was on him and talking about the semen line that he had. I'm giving a link down below and you can watch it. But out here we would be talking about other things. Before I start my video, request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. Call me or you can email me if you wish to take a paid reading from me. And now we head straight away to reading this particular palm hand image. We have the left hand as well as the right hand. This hand that we refer to, this hand, this is the left hand. First we will start with the left hand. Basically the concept is that we do not ignore the left hand. Right hand is the prominent hand, left hand is the passive hand. Left is past, right is present. Left is passive, right is active hand. This is how a reading is basically given. I had shown in my previous video that the semen line is present, and semen line is a transverse line. This kind of a line which is running from one end to the other, and it is also present in the right hand as well. Both hands show the same indications. So there are few similarities. This is one of the main similarity the person basically has. So we would not be talking about these particular lines out here, but other lines as well. We would first talk about money part, because this is a part everybody basically wants to know about. And we are going to talk about the luck part. So if we look at the lifeline, this is the lifeline. See, luck can show up, money can show up on almost all aspects of your palm. It can be headline, it could be heartline, it can be seen on almost all the aspects. And people think that money line, this is the money line, it would be talking about only money, but there could be other aspects as well that we can see on the line of money, the line of Saturn, the line of whatever you can call it, the line of Saturn or the money or possessions, whatever the line. So we are talking about the lifeline. This is the lifeline we are referring to, and you would notice that there are many lines that these are moving upward from the lifeline, moving upward towards the finger of Saturn. Saturn is basically the finger of possessions. This is the finger of responsibility. This is the finger of wisdom, money management, and they could be opposite. These qualities, these are the positive qualities, but it could be reverse as well. All these qualities can be in reverse as well if the planet is not so good. So these upward lines that you see pointing upward towards a finger, these are called luck lines, and it would be a lucky spell for this particular person when we see such lines. And this is running for quite a long time, quite a long number of years it is running, so it's going to be a good period for him. I'm just tweaking the hand image a little bit so that we can see much better. You'll notice that these lines are showing up. You can see out here. The other prominent thing you need to look out here is that there are few island-like formations on this semen line that we are referring to. This is basically, it's always better. See, money comes to people who are very kind of stable in their mind, and more stability, no depression or something like that. If we find an island-like formation and just under the finger of Saturn, what it does is that it makes you much more troubled mentally. And it would make you it could also disturb your stomach as well, this area, if it is disturbed. If there are too many lines out here, because see, look at this particular area. This is the area of Mount of Mars. This is where your lifeline starts. That means there's a spark out here. Mars basically means a spark, and what happens is when there's a spark, your life basically starts. So having too many crisscrossing lines is considered to be that this area gets overworked. So overworking of a particular area basically means that your fire is basically getting wasted. So where the person should not be getting angry, the person is going to basically get angry. Like the person would feel that things are not under his control. See, the person would be making good money. That is not the question. But you need to have peace of mind in order to like continue to make that money for your whole life. So if you disturbed this particular area, so in the initial period of your life, when you are basically young, so what's going to happen when the person is basically young? Everything is okay. The person is feeling that person is energetic during his younger years. But if this area is disturbed, the Mars area, so what's going to happen that our fire is going to die down early in our life if we do not take care of our fire. So try to understand that is the reason why in stomach the fire is maximum. So we need to have a very intact kind of a fire, a very targeted kind of a fire. That's when better results basically come about. And the area I've already explained to you, the island out here, so mental disturbances. This is the intersection of the money and the headline or the semen line, whatever you can call it. So this age is approximately 35 or so. So those islands are appearing. Those islands are appearing from the age of, let's say, 33 to 36, 37, 38, 39. So that's the rough approximate it is. It's always better to have a very, very neat and clean kind of lines. These neat and clean of lines basically would also make you more stable and much more predictable as well. So this is what is represented by a headline and the Mars area. So Mars is the area of fire and this is the area of your fuel. So both these areas should be having less lines. Your Mars has got more lines compared to the Venus, so it's okay, like it's not too bad. But if there were lesser lines, I would have certainly said it to be much better. These lines, these are crossing over of lines again, just under the finger of Saturn. Again, I would not consider it to be too many good lines. So because too many lines under the mount of Saturn, what it would do is it is going to kind of bring in delays in your life. This is the left hand. We are just talking about the left hand, not the right hand, the active hand. So Saturn is a slow moving planet. Try to understand, Saturn is a slow moving planet and it revolves around the sun. It takes almost 20 years or so to revolve around the sun. So if they are horizontal kind of lines, what it would do is it is going to create roadblocks within that circumference. It is revolving around. This is the sun and this is basically the axis of the Saturn and this is the Saturn out here. So if there are too many lines out here, so it's going to create roadblocks in the area of the Saturn, the axis of the Saturn around the sun. So the feeling is going to be there that there are more delays. So it's always advisable that there should be less lines. You can't help it. It's there. So so this is what is represented with too many lines. So this is also the area of depression. This is also the area of anxiety. And having too many, see, these are parallel lines. I've already talked about this in the other video and explained to you that these lines, if they were not there, it would have been much better. Now we move on to the right hand. Now the right hand has got few very good indications. Let me just explain to you. First of all, the money line is extremely stable out here. The money line stable brings in stability in almost all aspects of your life. See, money plays a major role in one's life. So if a person has got good source of money, the chances are that things are going to stabilize in their life. See, some people, what they have kind of a broken kind of a line. Broken kind of a line would bring in hardships in one's finances, and it is going to play out in your personal life as well. but having a stable money line would kind of stabilize your personal life as well to some extent. So this is about the money line, and the money line is starting on the mount of moon. This is the mount of moon. The mount of moon, whenever your money line starts on the mount of moon, it is represented that you would benefit from staying far away from your birthplace. It need not be just far away from your birthplace, but the association of foreigners is going to bring this particular person benefits. It could be just patients, it could be foreigners, like the person is working in UN kind of a thing. So that is basically suited for you. So this is perfect. And it could be trading activity, service industry. That's where the person basically makes the money if the money line starts on the mount of moon. And the benefits could also come due to associations from foreigners, or after marriage, or if you listen to your parent, if you listen to female sex, it could be mother, it could be sister, it could be wife, it could be daughter, it could be just female friends, or it could be male or female in terms of if the person is associating with foreigners. So it could be both ways out there. So this is the benefit of having a stable money line, the possession line. So this is one part. But money line in itself does not tell everything about how good your money is going to be. Try to understand, too much of importance is given to the money line. I basically say that money line importance is just in terms of money. I would rate it to just 10, 15, 20%. That's it. So which other line brings in benefit? A line of Mercury is highly required. This is a line which is an excellent kind of a line. See, what this line basically represents is that this is basically the line of Mercury. Mercury basically is a planet. It's a small planet, but it has got lots of qualities, and the quality is that it is representative of communication, technical skills, business skills, all kind of skills. It could be written communication, verbal communication, it could be a doctor, it could be an engineer, it could be a businessman who is doing calculation, a statistician, an economist. So many fields are basically covered by this particular mount, and a person who has this particular mount to be good, by good we mean a stable, strong line of Mercury. See, not necessarily every person is going to have such a long line. Not many people have got such a long and stable line. Many people might have a broken kind of a line. So those are basically not considered to be good. It's always better to have a stable line that brings in benefit. It makes a person have very good set of skills. This is what this line basically represents. So it is common sense that if a person has good set of skills, the chances are extremely bright that the person is going to be successful. This is the main criteria for success. Skill is the main criteria for success. If you have skills, you can go in any part of the world and be successful. So it's not only this line. We also look at these particular lines that you see out here, perpendicular lines. The perpendicular lines under the mount of perpendicular lines, just any place, not just this particular finger, any place, be it sun line, be it out here, any place out here, all places it is considered to be good. But particularly out here, these are of spatial significance. See, these lines basically, whenever these lines we find the book of palmistry basically says that this is a hand of a good doctor. Good doctor because the person can analyze their patients very well, or they can analyze the reports and give a very, very comprehensive, very technical kind of reading to them. This is what these lines basically represents. I have a little bit different kind of opinion. See, when I find these lines to be present in the hands of non-doctors as well. See, not necessarily every person who has these lines would become a doctor. It could be just a statistician, or good with numbers, or good with business, or just being a plain simple a healer, a healing touch within them. So this is what these lines are representative. See, many people, what they have is they might have very weak and meek kind of lines. very weak and meek, or these kind of lines. So those are basically not so good. Having deep and clearer lines is always representative of that you are sharpening your skills. A strong line means you're sharpening your skills. A weak line means that you should be sharpening more skills, but you're not able to sharpen. So it's always better to sharpen your skills on a daily basis. This is what is basically represented by these strong lines. If they were a little bit more stronger, like this long Mercury line, I would have rated it to be much better. So this is another aspect. The other aspect is that there's a line that is coming and like kind of going towards the mount of sun. See, this particular line, this is also the line of sun. We are talking about the sun line. This is the line we are referring to, but this line is a little bit rare, as it is coming from the positive Mars. The name of the planet is positive Mars, and when it comes from the positive Mars, this is the area of tenacity. This is the area of coolness, calmness, tenacity. So the person is going to be known for these particular qualities. We also find that there are reasonably strong line of sun. There are few breaks in it, but out here you would see that these are lines that you see out here, and just out here the line becomes much more deeper and clearer. So in comparison to this particular line compared to these particular lines, I would rate this particular line to be good. So this is in the later period of one's life, and the later period we would say could be after the age of 44 or so. See, out here there's a little bit of confusion, because out here there's a merging of both these heart and the headline, the semial line. So that is the reason why we are not able to time perfectly, because in a normal hand it would have been, this is the line of heart, this is the line of head, and this is your sun line. So the time could be, this is early age, the intersection of the head and the sun line is age 35, the intersection of the heart and this is the heart and the sun line is age 53. So this is how we calculate. So because it is merged into one, and this is 53 and this is 35, so we add up 53 plus 35, it comes to 88, divided by 2 comes to 44. This is the middle part. So this is where we find, because the lines are merging, that's the reason why I took it as 44. This is when the line becomes much more deeper and clearer and goes towards the mount of sun. A strong line means that the person is energizing their work. Compared to this particular line, you would, if you compare it, both these lines, you would notice that this particular line is better compared to this, because this is comparatively weaker. Weaker lines is something like, there are light clouds in the sky. Sometimes you are able to see the sun and sometimes you are not able to see the sun. So when you see the sun, basically your work brightens. When there is no sun, basically your work is not so good. And because there are few changes, the breaks out there could be few changes the person might experience in his life as far as his work goes. Now the other portion to look for is the area of mount of Mars. This is the area of mount. This is a very important area, and this area it's better to have least amount of lines. The lesser the lines, the much better it is considered to be. See what Mars is. Mars is a red planet. Red means anger, aggression, and fire. This basically everybody knows. Mars is fire. When we say fire, fire means there's a spark. So this is your lifeline. So a spark is out here. That's where your life basically starts. So having more lines out here means the area is getting overworked. Overworking of a particular area means that the fire is going to be a little bit too much, and this fire is out here and the fire is also going out here. These are horizontal lines. Horizontal lines are again not considered to be extremely good, and the headline and the semi line that we see out here is a little bit not so deep and clear. It appears that there's island-like formations out here. If you look closely, you would find these island not so clear kind of a line. I'm just going to tweak the image a little bit so that so that we have a better understanding of the hand image. So this is what I've just tweaked a little bit. So as it is, there's like too many lines out here. If there were lesser lines, it would have meant that our temper would have been within control. So for success also, our temper needs to be in control. Our stomach needs to be much better. Stomach is, or there's too much of fire in our stomach. So if there's too much of fire out here, so our stomach is also going to get affected. So it is advisable to like kind of have a much better lifestyle. In the initial phases of our life, when we are young, we don't realize that these things matter. But as we grow older, we know the importance of stomach, because it is said in India that in Ayurveda that this is where all the diseases basically come. If your stomach is perfect, neat and clean, like it's healthy, the likelihood of any disease touching you is going to be comparatively less. So this is what it means. I had talked about the spark, comparing this is the area of Mount of Mars I had talked about, and Mars is a spark. This is where the spark basically starts. This is the origination of the spark, where your life starts. So these horizontal kind of lines are trouble lines that comes and strikes the person's life. But there is also a line that is running parallel to your main lifeline. There's not one but two lines, these lines that we refer to. See, these lines, whenever we find in the hand, these are lines of protection. This is something like an armor around you. It is basically protecting you from difficult situations and making you a winner. It is line of, like, it could just mean protection from difficult people, difficult situations, and coming out as winner. It could be, sometimes what happens is that we lose everything in our life. Imagine you lose everything in your life, but because these lines are present, the person is able to rebuild their life from scratch. So these lines basically is line of resparking your life. So whenever they're present, it means that the person would be able to respark their life whenever they want. And presence of the line basically means protection. And these lines are not protection only from people, but it could be protection from accidents, it could be protection from diseases, it could be, see, it could also protect you from finances also, financial loss also. So it is need not only one indication, but multiple. It has got multiple meanings to it. But at the same time, these lines that you see crossing over, these are something like, imagine this is the area of fire, this is the area of your fuel, and this lifeline is your car, or this is your engine. You can call it a car or your engine. And the lines that are coming out here, these lines are kind of a cycle or a scooter or a car or a motorcycle or a human being just walking and striking your car, or a plane or a train, whatever it could be, or a bus. So depending upon the strength of the line, it would mean different meanings. So stronger the line, the bigger the impact on your life. The weaker the line, the lesser the impact. So this is what is represented by strong or weak lines on your these lines that we see out here. But like you are traveling in a car and a line is coming and striking your life, that it is bringing in trouble. But once a person has got a supporting lifeline, these supporting lines that you see, this is acting as a speed breaker to the car that is going to topple your car out here. So it is kind of reducing the speed, and when the speed is reduced, so the impact on your life is going to be comparatively less. So this is kind of protection in that particular way. And the other part about the hand is that there are few backward lines that you see out here. This is the area of Jupiter. Jupiter is a big planet. Big planet basically signifies that it indicates growth, expansion, honor, organizational skills, all kind of skills, not all kind of skills, basically organization, political understanding of things, religious, and all these things is represented by Jupiter, anything to do with honor. So people who have these kind of lines rise up to high position in their life. They are always in the commanding position. They somehow reach the commanding position and they are honored for what they do. So this is again considered to be a beautiful sign. Whoever has it, and this is, do not think that this is only representing that you would be getting honor at a later date. This is represented that your honor is going to be coming constantly in your life. It's not one time, but you'll be constantly getting honor, and all throughout your life. So this is what is represented out here. It would have been better, like this area, to have lesser lines. These horizontal lines, this I've already talked about. This is while SKBA line that we see, it could make a person hysterical, uncontrolled emotions. It would have been better if they are not there, but still we find that these are square line formations. So squares are like kind of protecting the person from these difficulties that you see. So it is okay. And so main things I've covered. Last thing I would just add is that the length of the Mercury finger. This is the Mercury finger. The Mercury finger, every person has got a short Mercury finger, but in this case I find that it is crossing over this particular line of the sun finger. This is the sun finger. So whenever we find this finger to be long and crossing this particular line, this finger is considered to be long. It is always good to have a long finger of Mercury, because this is the finger of communication. So imagine this is the communication tower. This is a long communication tower and a short communication tower. So short communication tower would have a lesser reach over people, and long finger of Mercury would mean it would mean much wider audience you basically have. This is represented by a long finger of Mercury, and the more strength comes to the finger of Mercury. So technical abilities, communication abilities are basically much more. So it's a combination, see, lines, it's a combination of many lines coming together that makes a hand. It is not one aspect of a palm that brings in success or failure. You would also notice that we find an island-like formation out here. This is not such a good indication. Emotional stress could be there, or elongated periods of emotional stress. These upward lines that you see from your heart line or your headline, it could be either one of them, because this is the same line. So both of these are considered to be good. Anything moving towards the finger are good. Anything moving downwards is considered to be bad. So upward basically means something good happening in your life, or some betterment happening in your life, or something like somebody pulling you upward and bringing you benefits. So as of now, I think I've told you many things out here. One last thing I would add out here is that the left hand has few troubles. Like this is an island-like formation. This would bring you stomach-related issues. So be aware about that. Be careful about that. This is also the area of depression. The headline is not so good. So depressive tendencies could be there. Hysterical nature could be there. So you have to be cautious regarding these few things. Otherwise, if you compare the left hand to the right hand, I find the right hand to be much better compared to the left hand. Although I find these luck lines are there much more prominently. So the upward lines from the lifeline are basically luck lines, considered to be good lines. In your left hand, we find 3 strong lines of sun. Even one line is considered to be good enough. You have got 3 strong lines. So again, good possibilities regarding your work, and specifically after the age of 44, 53. That's when things are going to brighten up. And As of now, that's it. And before I end my video, I would just repeat few things that I repeat on in almost all my videos. Money, possessions, wealth. Money line just represents 15% of what you will have. Other lines that are much more important are the Mercury line, the Sun line, your Mars, your other different planets, the Mars, the fire within you, or the fuel within you, that is the Venus. Those should be good. That's when the person is more successful. A saint once said to me, you do not need to go to an astrologer or a palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you are doing in the present. So bye, take care. Before I end my video, I would just ask you to, I thank you for watching this video. It's a long video, and give your like, give your comments, subscribe to my channel. If you dislike the video, still give your comments. Bye, take care.